Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Micah Let's Play, and guess who I am? I'm Micah, peering to you from across the veil for reasons. Don't ask. Okay. Guys, I'm so excited. Today we're going to be talking about the high level warrior combat for Dragon Age the Veilguard. I will be doing a deep dive trailer analysis for the release trailer. Don't worry, that's coming soon. I literally just got back from vacation. I was in Barbados with my family. I had a very good time. But yeah. And then also I have another video I did with another group of people where we were kind of talking about the voice actors and all that stuff. It's more like a casual discussion video on Veilguard. That will be coming out soon. I'm working on all that right now. But since I got home, I was like, oh, let me check this out real quick. And I did watch this already, and there are some minor spoilers. So I highly recommend that you, if you don't want to be spoiled, then don't watch this video until you maybe learn something or play the game and then come back and say, oh yeah, you said this or whatever, if you remember this video. But yeah, so we're gonna do the high level warrior combat. I'm just doing the one where it's all 4 videos together versus what was on the site, since it's now up on YouTube. So we're going to dive into this. We're going to talk about the stuff that I like and the stuff that I really liked. Real talk, this is the kind of combat I had wanted literally from day one. When I played Inquisition, although I enjoyed Inquisition's combat, this is the kind of combat I wanted from Inquisition. And we also will be talking about the Mage combat as well. So it's gonna be like a casual conversation as we're watching and discussing and all that stuff. So with that said, let's get started. So, you know, like I said before, this, like I said, there's going to be some spoilers, so prepare. And, you know, and they're warning you here, it's been edited for brevity. And so basically, it said, White's Out Fortress, where the Grey Wardens are, it's their headquarters, is under attack from Gillinan, and her arch-demon. And Rook and the Veilguard must stop her. So, again, if you don't know who Gillinan is or what an arch-demon is, that means you're not that familiar with Dragon Age lore. So, again, spoilers, you're about to get an earful. Gillinan is an ancient elven goddess. Long story short, her appearance will surprise you. And an archdemon is a ancient Tevinter dragon, which they worshipped as a god. And it's a whole thing. It has stuff to deal with the blight. I'll explain as we continue. So you have to stop her as Rook. And it said, let's get your warrior ready for battle. So this is the new UI, and real talk, the runes and abilities, I love it. And I like how they let you see what's already selected. What makes me really appreciate this is that the level of variety we get. Now, real talk, I've heard many of people complain about this, and I do agree a little bit, but honestly, it doesn't bother me that much, real talk, because I've noticed more and more games are doing this, is the limited amount of abilities we have at our disposal. Now with Inquisition, you can unlock something with your Inquisitor and have multiple options to kind of play around with when you're leveling up. And also remember, you can respec your character just like in Inquisition as well. So some people are saying, oh man, I don't like that we only have basically 3 abilities plus 1 super ability. In Dragon's Dogma 2, they did the same thing. We only have 4 abilities versus 6, like in the first game. I think more and more games are doing this to kind of get you to, you know, I don't know, maybe it's strategy reason. I don't know why. I'm trying to get you to work more with less, I suppose. As you can see here, it shows that she has driving kick. So basically this is your Sparta kick as a warrior, which I think is really cool. And I like how they tell you, you know, assign abilities and an ultimate attack before jumping into battle. Now again, like I said before, this is why I like this, because you can switch mix and match as much as you want, giving you total variety. So yeah, you're limited on how much you have access to at one time, but you know before you go into combat, you always have the ability to play around with stuff. So for me, I'm perfectly fine with this. So now that you're seeing this, it's just showing, this is her grappling spear. So she throws her spear and she can do a scorpion thing. And then I think she had something called Balric, where basically it's like a shield thing she can do. And of course you saw her Warden's Fire. And now here, when it comes to runes, it's equip runes to enhance your power and set unique abilities when activated. Set access to unique abilities when activated. I like this because each one does something different. So you have Mine here, or Mend. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I like that this, it enhances her ability. So it's more like all the runes seem to be like passives. Passive just meaning like you don't have to do anything to make them work. It's more like you activate it and it just kind of runs a little bit on a timer. So I really like that we have access to this. One of them that I also really like is the crystallize. I think that's what it is. Yeah, crystallizing, or crystallize, excuse me. I like this because it allows you to freeze enemies. So if you're a warrior and you don't have a mage in your party, these runes will allow you to kind of have access to magic using the lyrium, using the lyrium dagger here. Now the thing I want to talk about now, in a previous video I said, what is this dagger for? Is it like a mechanic? And apparently it is. I think it's also a weapon used to actually help you defeat the bosses. Now when we do our trailer breakdown, I'm gonna dive more into this and we'll talk about it more. But again, I like the fact that we have access to this. Now, the thing about the runes that I'm excited about is that it says runes are going to be, there's going to be someone inside the Illuvian, the lighthouse with you, that is going to help you with this. So you can, I think you can even apply it to your armor as well as your weapons. I think this is Sandal. Sandal's going to be helping you with rune crafting. If it's not Sandal, then it might be Dagna. But I think it's going to be Sandal, personally speaking. So I'm really excited about that. And then this other one here that she gets, the fire one that I really like. This one basically allows you to do weakness on people. So when you do it, this is also a passive ability. So when you're fighting your enemies, you can hit them with weakness, like weakening them so they're not physically as strong. And again, this is allowing you to do something that I really like, where it says choose rooms that boost your warriors damage and helps you with crowd control. Now as a mage, I always love controlling the battlefield. If you watch any of my Let's Plays, I say it all the time, I like to control the battlefield. I like to be in control of everything as much as possible. Of course you can't control everything, but anything that will keep me alive longer in combat, I'm a big supporter of crowd control, and I think that's really cool. So with that said, then it goes to this last rune right here, Scorch. Now I like this one. Why? Because when we get to the video where she's fighting, when she blocks, if she does a perfect block, it activates this rune and allows her to do fire damage for about, and I think it says here, for 20 seconds. This is also a passive ability. So again, it really enhances what you can do as a warrior, as a rogue, as a mage. Like, I'm really excited to see more of the mage combat, and especially when you saw how rogue was, so you know it's going to be amazing. So we continue, and it's kind of allowing you to see how you're going to have her set up. Now here, where it says skill tree, again, this is where the variety really comes into play. So let's just say, for example, you see how they chosen her, and they're in the specialization for champion. So it says each combat class has an array of specializations that you can choose from. So remember, as I said before, you can respec. So let's just say after a while you're like, hey, I really like this, but I want to put these points over here because I want to be more a reaper. So my specialization is going to be more like a necromancer, so more like the Mourn Watch. Even though you're still a Grey Warden, but you're going to go more into this specialization where you're more of a reaper. So you're kind of like energy, life stealing kind of combat. And I like that as well. And then also you can be a slayer, which I think is more like two-handed weapon like warrior. So again, really like it. And the way I'm gonna play as my rook, even though I'm very tempted to play as a warrior, is that I'm gonna play as a mage who's a Lord of Fortune. So I'm gonna be specializing as a Spellblade, not an Evoker, and not the Necromancer. I'll do that on another playthrough, but my initial playthrough, I'm gonna be playing as a Lord of Fortune Spellblade. And I think that sounds like a lot of fun, even though Necromancer does sound like a lot of fun. So I really like this. I think this is really cool, and it just adds, and it shows like you have points to put away, and it goes to show you're at level 30, and I think the max level is 50. So again, I like it because it looks like the devs really did consider what they were doing, even though we're limited on the amount of abilities to use at one time, but it looks like the devs wanted to make sure you can have a lot of variety. So again, so anybody from BioWare who's watching, thank you. And then I like this here. So you can see the champion specialization is what they chose. And as you can see, each thing allows you to do something different. It says your rook has chosen the champion branch, which favors strength, like, you know, which favors strength defense skills. So again, more like sword and shield kind of thing. So you get a lot of really cool shield abilities with that as well. So again, especially when you see what she can do with it, again, it just has me really excited. So as you can see, it allows her to do that defense with her shield, and it activates the fire rune or the scorch rune. So again, I like this. I think this is really cool. Here, what is this? It says heavy armor. So for this heavy armor mastery, you see this here, and this is allowing her to wear heavier armor. As a warrior, you can do that, you know, and this is like a passive ability. So again, there's a lot of really cool things you can do with this, just like in Inquisition, of course, and and the previous games, but I don't know, I like it. Is that utilizing passive abilities like heavy armor mastery will help you boost defense if you equipped with all heavy armor. So meaning if you're wearing nothing but heavy armor, this kind of helps you in that area, possibly with your like rage or stamina or something. I'm not entirely sure. I don't usually play as a warrior, so there you go. And then there's a description here, but it's too small for me to read, and I should be wearing my glasses, but whatever. Oh, and that reminds me, there was this really cool video I watched, a good friend of mine on the YouTubes called Important Goose, right here. She did this video where she talks about, you know, the brightness and the colors of this game and how it can have effects on you neurologically, and people like me who have bad eyesight, how it kind of affects me as well. So I'm gonna put her channel and her video in the description, and I highly recommend that you check it out and give her a subscribe. She's an absolute amazing content creator. So Goose, if you're watching, hi. But I like what she did. I like I said, it's a very thoughtful video. It makes you think, and I love her content. It's good stuff. So yeah, so check her out. Hit that like and subscribe button for her, and tell her Micah Let's Play sent you her way, you know. And she'll be like, who's that again? I'm just kidding. No, remember, this is the way. Anywho, so with that said, we're gonna continue moving on, and then you'll see they're gonna choose like a few other specialization or passive specializations, which I think is really cool. And this one right here, they have this one specialization that they chose right here, and this is the part where I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna need my glasses because yeah, a boy can't see. Fiery Resolve, and I like this right here. So this is a greater passive that you have, which again allows your weapon to do when you do a fiery weapon on perfect defense. So when you do that perfect block, it allows you to do that. It said you're going to be battling Darkspawn, who are vulnerable to fire, so kill it with fire. I'm just kidding. Fiery Resolve will grant you flaming weapons. So again, a fire sword and shield. So with that rune that you have, plus with your ability, will allow you to do it. So again, so when you parry an enemy attack. So again, I like this. Again, this is what's making me even more excited to play as a warrior, because you can get to do like magic-y stuff. So it kind of makes you feel like a knight enchanter kind of thing, like what you get in Baldur's Gate. So I don't know, like I'm so tempted to play as a warrior now. You guys have no idea. But as you can see, like I said, I like it because, you know, playing as a sword and board warrior, you get a lot of really cool stuff with it. Oh, okay. What did it say? I'm so sorry. Did I miss something? No, there's that. And then there's this. I said, we'll be doing a deep dive on the progression system in the future. So they're gonna so BioWare is gonna do a more deep dive on how each little thing works with, I guess, with each class, hopefully. You know, please do Mage, I'm just saying, for those of us who are magic wielders. So yeah, so now you get to go into her inventory. Again, I like it, and then I noticed you could turn off the helmet, because ooh, we all know them helmets. Them helmets, honey, ooh, they be bad. And then also, if you don't like the armor she's wearing, you can always transmog. So remember, in this game, just like in Hogwarts Legacy, if you don't like the way the better armor looks, but the outfit, the previous outfit, you felt like, oh, this outfit is so much better, this is the outfit I want to wear all the time, you can do that in this game. And then as you can see, it shows like the defense with it. So you get 44 defense, 8% agility damage. So, ability damage, with this. So I think this is actually pretty cool. And it gives you 25%, takedown damage. So again, and it also allows you to do stagger. So I guess as you rank up and you unlock more stuff, you can do more things with the costumes or with the outfit. So I think that's pretty cool. Except for this build, you'll want a full set of heavy armor. So meaning her helmet as well as her clothing. So because unfortunately we don't have boots. I wish we had like boots so we can like really play around with it. But again, transmog, that's why it's there. And then right here, now we get our partners. So now we have Davrin. What I like about this is it says select companions that can add to Rook's that can aid Rook by equipping complementary gear and passives. So as you can see, you know, these are the kind of weapons he has available to him. He only has one armor slot, and I guess this is an additional weapon or dagger. I don't know, but I think this is really cool. And then I like right here where it shows combat in arms. So it shows you how high your infinity is. So you have like 4 points of infinity with Davrin. And again, his hairstyle is like, oh my god, it's so good. It looks so good. He looks so handsome. I love him so much. I cannot wait to smooch him as Rook, you know. And as you can see here, you see his shield. And so this is Barwork. So that shield that you can use as a defense, you get that as well. So again, it shows all the things he has equipped. So it applies overwhelm, and it also applies weakness as well. So I really like how this is set up. So it really shows there's a lot of strategy involved in this. And then you see Emmerich here, and you also get a little description. It said Davrin is equipped for the Siege of Whitehaupt quest. So this is his particular companion quest. I don't know if it's his companion quest, but this is like, because you're going to be dealing with Grey Wardens, he's a Grey Warden, so throw him in there. And then also we learn more about our companion buddies. you know, and I'm really excited to learn more about Davrin and his particular life. I'm actually going to be doing a video with Angel Arts in the future talking more about Davrin. So for me, I'm really excited to do that video. In addition to Davrin, you can decide to take Lucanus into battle based on his crowd control abilities. So again, that's what they're going to do. But right here, you get Emmerich. And I like how it says Sword and Board Monster Hunter commands a griffin. So you get a little bit more about them, and it says Navarra Professor Death Summon said Professor of Death Spirits, Death Summoning Spirits, excuse me. So I like this. Again, you get like this little information on them, and then you get Harding. Oh, sweet little Harding. You get to learn more about her. But as you can see, they got, you know, the suave assassin, you know, with the demon aura. So as I like to call him, my pride angel of death. So you get Lucanus and Davrin, which I think is a good combination to have with you going into this battle. Again, crowd control is everything. So now, technically this is when the video ends, and then this is when you get the second video. It said, now that Rook, Davrin, and Lucanus have the right gear and skills, the team is set off with to find their allies. So what allies are we off to find? Are they the Grey Wardens? And it says, soon they are met with resistance by darkspawn blighted creatures following Gelanon's orders. Now blight is what is kind of like this weird almost poison that turns you into like ghouls and zombies and monsters and all sorts of really cool stuff. And Gelanon controls them, you know, but she ain't the only one. So now you arrive into battle, and I love this here. And then just look at this. This is Weishaupt Fortress. You see the Grey Wardens. It looks so cool. I love the way the UI is so neat and clean. Like everything is like off to the side. They don't have no ridiculous map in the way, which I prefer. Whew, forgive me, guys. It's been a long day. Okay, so now you see this dragon here. So this is Gelanon's archdemon. This is her archdemon, which is this dragon. And you see all these weird little spores or tendrils or tentacles hanging off of it. Looks really cool. So now that we're about to go into battle, it said first learn the enemy types and strategically exploit their weaknesses. Darkspawns again are vulnerable to fire, and all these creatures are darkspawn, which are the Grey Wardens. That's their main enemy, and this is why they exist. Grey Wardens exist to take out darkspawn and to end the blight, which is a part of this game world's immense and incredible lore. So I believe in this game we're going to learn more about that. But let's get back to the combat. I like this here where you can pause and you can see you can get opportunity where it says combo opportunity. So it shows if you do her grappling spear and his I think his slash here that does like overwhelm or something, it allows you to do like almost like a like one of their detonation combos, which I think is really cool. So I like this here. So they both have them. Right now you don't have one with Lucanus, but you definitely have one with Davrin. And then where it says right here is the enemies have multiple enemies have a multitude of damage variety vulnerabilities and resistances. So as you can see here where it says greater ghoul, vulnerability, fire, resistance to necrotic or necromantic kind of abilities. So if this warden was a necromancer, then yeah, you really wouldn't be that effective. So someone like what's his name, oh my god, Emmerich wouldn't be very effective during this combat. Abilities which exploit weaknesses have a green outline. So as you can see, green outline, green outline, green outline. These are the things that exploit their weaknesses, because I believe these things have fire attached to them. So again, it's important that you pay attention, assessing the battlefield. So again, I like this because this kind of goes back to those people who are saying, where's the strategy? Where is, the heavy RPG elements? Well, here it is. It may not be in the way you want, but this is it. And honestly, real talk, I really prefer this type of combat. I wish Baldur's Gate combat was like this, but I still like Baldur's Gate 3. I love Baldur's Gate 3. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But if it had combat more like this, heck yeah, man. I would have really eaten that up. I would have liked it even more. If you know any kind of games, like I'm playing Dragon's Dogma 2, I like beat 'em up games. So like fighting games. What is it? I'm trying to think. What is the name of that damn game I like? Streets of Rage. I like that kind of stuff. I love button mashers. So the fact that Dragon Age kind of allows me to do that is right up my alley. So even though I enjoyed Inquisition's combat, this is way more what I wanted from Inquisition from the beginning. But again, we get that here, and again, it looks incredible. It looks incredible. So now it says Rook encounters a swarm of darkspawn ghouls who favor overwhelming melee. So basically, they're the kind of enemies that will maybe surround you and become a problem that way. So I think that's pretty cool that you kind of have that. You have that insider knowledge on how to deal with it. Now, a lot of the UI stuff, from what I understand, you can turn off. So if you don't want to see all the little icon stuff, I believe the health bars, we're going to see them anyway. But I do believe you can turn off a lot of this stuff. So if you just want to have more clean looking UI with everything at the bottom, you kind of have that. And again, the way this combat looks, let's just watch this. Look how she moves. My girl, it looks good. And I like how the person is constantly using the tactical camera to help you in combat. But look, so I like this, you see how she's fighting with her sword. Now she has the fire, their weakness, they're weak to it, and you can see how you can hit. Okay, I'm so sorry, I should have been reading that. I don't know. I really like the way it is. It said with successful parries, the fiery resolve passive will basically be activated. So this skill activates flaming weapons. As you can see, she has a fire sword. It says melee attacks will do fire damage instead of physical damage. So again, remember, you're fighting darkspawn. You want to exploit their weaknesses. Now that she's been blocking, as you can see, it ignites that fiery resolve that she already has, plus her fire rune, which allows her to, the fire rune allows you to do something else, excuse me, but this will allow her, while she's fighting, to have that advantage in combat, which I think is really cool. I love this here, and as you can see, you can roll, you can dodge, you can parry. As you can see, if she was a rogue, she would be building up momentum, which actually will be filling her bar down here at the bottom of the screen. I believe as a warrior, I think they call it rage. So when she lands attacks or takes damage, this builds up for her, I believe, but I could be wrong. And then I love this. It says using your kick ability will deal massive damage and knock enemies off ledges. So just like a boss, boom. And I think the voice we're hearing, I think this is Erika Ishii. I think this is them, their voicing the female rook. And for those of you who don't know, Erika is a non-binary person. So Erika, if you're watching, love you. And also if you recognize the name, Erica is a voice actor from the very popular YouTube channel Roll20, or Critical Role, excuse me, to Roll20. Critical Role, they voice acted and played D&D with Matt Mercer, who's also a voice actor in this game as well. So I'm super excited about that. I love this. And then I think Lucanus actually gives you a buff. That's when he does that thing. He actually gives you a spell buff, which I think adds to your damage output. And then, yeah. So shield throw, this is why I like this, because you can kind of be like Captain America with a sword and shield, or Wonder Woman, which I actually did a little short because I like this class so much. So you can do a shield throw, which allows her to have range attack, allowing you to destroy obstacles in your way. So let's just say, like, you see all this blighted shit in the way and you can't get past it. Booyah, now it's gone, and now you can just freely run past it, which I absolutely love. And then these green pots here basically allows you to use like get back energy potions, which I believe you only get 3, but if you equip certain belts you can get more, and as you level up you get more, or something like that. Or certain I think it's either certain not classes, certain backgrounds or certain items will give you more spell potions to hold. And if you play as a mage, you can get Soothing Potion, which is a healing spell that you can use. So yeah, so whenever you see them, you know you're low on potions, just smash it. And also, it's fun to smash shit. I love this right here. I like the transitions that they're using. So again, using the ability wheel to pause the action, cast abilities, and to direct your companions. So even though in this game you cannot tell your companions, like switch to them, like in past Dragon Age games, like you could switch to Davrik and say, Davrin, you know, I need you to be in the front and tank, my brother. Like, I need you to really be up there. Now you can basically be like, yo, Davrin, take out this, you know, get in there and take out these clowns. You know, you can do that, and he'll run over there and he'll just, like, you know, kick ass on you, just select him. Or you can have both of your boys tack a specific target to take them down even faster, allowing you to do a combo. And as you can see again, you get a combo ability, and then because you use the kick, I think it has a cooldown period of like 19 or so seconds. So again, it's really cool. So I think these things can, as you level up, you can adjust the cooldown period so you can use them more frequently, which I think is really cool. So let's get in there. So it says Lucanus will attack this target. So as you select him, you've chosen a target, so that's the one he'll attack, as I already said. I like this. So when you're doing this, and now it's like when you're using your enemies to using your allies to work against certain enemies. So it says some tougher enemies have an additional protection. So you see this yellow bar here. So when you see that yellow bar, you can use someone like Lucanus who can break through that kind of stuff, because Lucanus is a mage killer, so he's able to get through like barrier kind of stuff. So that is something that you want Lucanus to get this enemy to kind of knock down that yellow barrier, so you can get to the sweet red section of his health bar, taking down the enemy more effectively. So again, it goes to show, if you don't have the right things equipped or the right, you know, runes and stuff, you can really go into a combat situation like this and get your ass handed to you because you're not properly prepared. And remember, you can adjust all this stuff to make it more challenging or easier depending on what you want to do. So again, I like it. I think, you know, a lot of people are overlooking these little details because they're so, you know, they want that original Dragon Age experience where it was slightly more tactical. To me, this is tactical, but Dragon Age has always had a unique combat system where it changes depending on the game. So you had the first game, Origins, then you had Dragon Age 2, which was way more action, then you had Inquisition that was a little bit of both. Like it kind of played with both. But me, like, this is it. This is the sweet spot, and I really like it. And again, just remember that games evolve. Like, if you're someone who is like, nah man, you know, Origins was the best, that was my sweet spot, well, you can always go back to it, you know. You know, and when, you know, stuff like this happens to your favorite franchise, just know that, you know, this BioWare is trying to do their best to get as many people to play this as possible. And the reason why I really want to harp on this so much is because you have people like Calla Elizabeth and Caitie, who's Gildatharin, who were a part of the council. So the council were people who play tested this. And this is something where I mean what I say. I trust these women. I believe them when they say they had fun. It looks like fun, you know, and they were able to play this and give their actual feedback on what they thought on this combat. And the other reason why I think this is so important, because especially Calla Elizabeth, because Calla said she mods out combat in Origins, meaning she uses a mod that will completely get rid of the combat system. So that should tell you, a person who's not really big on combat, you know, saying, hey, you know, I like this, I enjoy this. And a lot of people do not play Dragon Age for the combat. A lot of people, like myself, are here for the story, you know, and I think that's so telling, especially when you have Wolfheart FPS. And Wolfheart, and I respect this man so much for his opinion. All of these people's channel links will be in the video description, by the way, and the videos, if I can find them that I'm referring to, well, I'll put them also in the video description so you can go back and watch their content. If you don't already know about them, at this stage of the game, how could you not know about them? But on the rare instance you don't, Wolfheart said it best. He said he was really bummed out that the combat system had changed, and then he watched this and he was like, okay, I think I'm on board, you know. And I like how he kept an open mind, and you know, and he's like a person that says, you know, I'm really mad that BioWare changed from what they did. I really like the you know, tactical strategic planning, and I feel like it lost some of that in a favor of a more action style gameplay. And again, if you watch his video, I mean, the man has a point, you know? And that's why I'm not mad at people who are saying, oh, I wish it was the way Origins was. Only thing I can tell you is that, again, games evolve and they change. And Dragon Age has been one of those series that changes with each installment, but the thing that's always consistent and the same is the lore, the story, and the world, and the characters. The characters are always the same. It always makes you feel like you're home, even if the combat is different, because Varric is the same as he was in Dragon Age 2, as he was in Inquisition, and he feels like the same man, he just feels older, you know? So again, you know, I tell people this all the time, you know, again, I'm so sorry I'm harping on this, and I know you guys want to get back into the gameplay footage, and we will, but again, my favorite franchise of all time is Resident Evil, and Resident Evil is nothing like it once was. I prefer fixed camera, tank controls, and an emphasis on resource management and survival. And it seemed like when Resident Evil 4 came out, although it made more people like it, and I say more people who love Resident Evil like me, it's a good thing. But when it went in that direction of a more action survival horror, I felt that it lost its core element. But you know what I learned? I began to like it. It's not my favorite, and my favorite, like, remake that they done is the remake of the original game, but don't get me wrong, I still absolutely love Resident Evil 2 Remake because it allowed you to have kind of like, it went back to the horror elements of the game, but also at the same time it still played with the Resident Evil 4 system of the over-the-shoulder camera, which, you know, this game is also using that technique as well. So I don't know, like I said, even though change happens, sometimes this change can be for the better. But again, we really won't know until we play it ourselves and make our own conclusion. But again, for Calla Elizabeth and for Caitie, I really trust them because, one, they really understand the material, they understand the game, they understand the lore, and I respect their opinions. So, and the same thing for Wolfheart, I respect him as well, even if he says this is not something he really liked. But if this can get someone like him on board, you just got to give it a try. And if you still don't like it, hey, I'm not mad at you. At least you know, you tried, you know, you just didn't give up. But let's get back to this. And again, for everyone who sat there and listened to me, there will be chapter times. I'm super sorry. Okay, right here, it said armor is resistant to most attacks. Heavy attacks are most effective against it. So if an enemy has armor, you have light and heavy attacks. Especially, you get to really see them, especially with the warrior class, where she kind of slows down and she hits you with her shield, and you'll see it as we go further into this, which is really cool. So if you know that you have that, so like that, you saw how she winds up and she did that jump attack, and look how much health she was able to break down. And you see what Lucanus was able to do to this enemy in the background. And I like the little icons in the background let you know where your party members are at all time. So I think that's really cool. So Lucanus is right next to her, and Davrin is over there being a boss. Talking about, oh, these are Darkspawn. This is a Tuesday. I love it. And I like this here. And you see how she got out of the way, and now it says here the Darkspawn horde are beginning to overwhelm, meaning they're starting to surround you and your teammates. And so when that happens, you can use your abilities to protect yourself and to kind of remember crowd control. And then this is the ability she's about to use. I think it's called the Barwick ability right here. So now she's having, I think she's having Davrin attack one, or maybe she's about to attack one. I don't really remember. Yeah, so now you're about to start, Barwick, which does damage to enemies who land melee hits. So now with the shields up attack that she's about to do, this gives her defense, but it also works as like a kind of like a backlash effect. So when you hit, it's like it ricochets and deflects on the enemy. And again, this is why I was starting to really like the warrior class, because I'm like, ooh, this is, you know, we eating good here. So for people who like playing as warriors, honestly, I'm really starting to see the appeal. So now she's targeting this big enemy. So now she's getting ready to use this attack, and see you see the kind of damage, and you see the cooldown that it has on this. It's a 60 seconds, so it takes a minute for this thing to kind of fully engage and fill back up. So again, I support this. So now that she does this attack, she does it, and now look, boom, and it knocked back all the enemies. And I love the effect of that. It does that little swishy switch and knocks everybody off of her, now allowing her to crowd control. And then she can do another attack, a distance attack, to bring this enemy to her. And then you have Davrin and Lucanus, you know, fighting off in the distance. But then you can tell them, hey, do this attack to help you with this particular enemy. Again, the goal is to crowd control. But you can see all these enemies here have high armor. So again, with knowing heavy attacks, fire attacks will help you best in this fight. Again, I like it. And now I like how they do that nice. That was a real slick switch. So now you're gonna see her do more of a one-on-one fight with this larger Darkspawn. And real talk, I know a lot of people had issues with the way the Darkspawns look. They say they feel silly and they don't look as intimidating, but I like the new design. It's not, I'll put it like this. Dragon Age has always had really cool monster and character designs. That is without saying. And I do feel the enemies do look less intimidating, but I still like the way the enemies look. I really like the big guys with the axes. I think they look fun to fight. Like me, if I saw them, like, oh, fuck yeah, big boy. I like fight. I like being a little guy fighting the big guy. I don't know. I like a challenge. So for me, playing as a warrior, I think it would be fun going toe to toe with one of these things. But of course, being careful and strategic, but just getting in there, man, and just like kicking ass and taking names. I love it. So here we go. So now you get to see this. So it's the enemies have a lavender stagger bar. That builds up when you land hits. So when you see this here, when you see this bar here, this lavender bar, it goes to show that the enemy they're heading towards a staggered effect. So as you can see, she used the defense, which took a little took a little health from him, but also it's helping stagger him, which will allow her to do another really cool effect. So let's watch this. Boom, she hit him again. Damn, like, get him, queen. I love it. So now it said, while the enemy is staggered, that takes a bonus, they take additional bonus damage. So now, even though, for example, let's see, how do I word this? You know, because they have an effect on them, when you hit them, your hits take more damage, which, you know, I'm trying to find an elegant way of saying it. But your hits take more damage, which means it brings their health bar down faster. But then you can deliver a powerful takedown. So we got to see this with the rogue class. The rogue class, we got to see in the announcement trailer where the rook stabbed and then jumped out and like knocked them down. So you get that same takedown animation here. I hope we can get to do more, and I want to know what the mage takedown looks like, you know, with the spell blade and your specialization. So I wonder if it changes depending on your specialization. Well, maybe it didn't. You know, well, we'll see. But anywho, you see she does her shield slam, right? And now you can see she does a shield toss, and now it says the enemy is staggered. So of course you're playing with the PlayStation, so you use the right click, you click with the right analog stick, and now mommy comes in and boom, bam. Love it. So now you get to do that, and again, I'm really excited. So now with this version, Combat 3, you get to do buffs, debuffs, and crowd control. It said you've mastered your core abilities. Now it's time to go face down a variety of enemies all at once. And again, I like that you have this, you know, core mechanic thing, so it teaches you how to control the battlefield, as I've been saying. And I personally like this. I think this is really cool. So now this is more like free range combat, and I love this here. So so now spacing strategically, or spacing strategy. So again, since I know I'm going to be playing as a mage, I know it's important that I keep room around me while I'm fighting. Otherwise I can easily be overwhelmed and taken down, because, you know, I don't really have, you know, strength or defense like that. So it's important that I learn how to properly space, especially with seeing how this is. It says this rook is a warrior specialized in the champion branch, which favors a defense style of fighting. So again, sword and board, shield. So this is really good for her. So again, I think personally, I think this is really cool. I, for one, really like this. So I like how when she hits it, she does the shield thing. Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. Well, holy shit. Let's get back here. I think, no, yeah, let's get back here. What I was gonna say, I like what she does here, and I like how when she hits with the shield, right here, and when she does the swing, not only does she hit the guy behind her, she tosses the other guy as well. I think that is just really cool. And again, I like this. I think this is so cool that we get this, you know? And so again, and then for these red danger zones, remember, I think you can turn these things off. So if you don't like that you have this, I think you could turn it off in the features. I'm not sure on how exactly it's done, but I believe you can turn it off. It said warriors are frontline fighters capable of devastating up-close attacks. So as you can see, now that she's getting up close, you know, she can do some serious damage. So I like it. And you got to be careful, because you can see those things are timed. So the moment that you see that thing lands, just try your best to get away from it. And so she takes a healing potion, and then right here, where it says Titan Stomp. When I saw that, I'm like, Titans, huh? Lyrium, Titans, Darkspawn. I just took it as a cue. It said, oh wait, hold on. I think this is coming more clear. Okay, Rook and their companions can also deploy different tools, which I really like, such as an area of effect AoE attack, uniquely managing, a variety of enemies. Equipped to manage a variety of enemies. I'm so sorry. So I like this right here because you see what this does. You see the damage it does. You see the cooldown. It said deals a very high stagger to nearby enemies. Also, it applies overwhelm. So enemies can be overwhelmed when you see stuff like this. So for me, I think this is really, really cool. So as you do this, boom, now look, everyone's overwhelmed. That's the static effect that it has. But then also look at the lavender bar. It builds that up, and not only does it build it up, you see the health bar. She took quite a bit of damage since they're already kind of staggered. So I think this is really cool. And look at the power effect. So it's an AoE crowd control, and then as you can see, Lucanus and Davrin are, fighting in the background. So I like that. And then they're overwhelmed, so they're dizzy, so it makes them slightly incapacitated for a little while during your combat. So I like that. Additional activity combat buffs, companion buffs, and debuffs to apply to status effects. Jesus. So meaning that you can get one of your allies, like for example, you have a combo opportunity right here. So now that you did your Titan Stomp, you can use Lucanus right here to do a status effect on the enemies. So one example of buffs is Lucanus's Adrenaline Rush ability, which enhances Rook's damage status. So as you can see, he gave her the status effect. So remember, she did the shield throw and he did that same thing. So I think that's a similar, so, oh my God. Yeah. So now you could do that. She's a little bit more, a little bit more tankier, I guess. It says Davrin, his heroic strike, which applies the overwhelm debuff. This can cause a target to take additional stagger. So now that you're telling Davrin to do his heroic strike here, it allows you to do another status effect. So again, like I said, this seems very strategic. And look. He overwhelmed that she was able to do more damage even though they're injured, but look at the damage she's like doing to them. So I think that's really cool. And it says this builds activity, the shield volley passive. So if she does her shield volley, which is the throw, it does even more damage, and she can hit up to 3 targets at one time. So this is with her heavy attack. So again, I think this is pretty damn cool, and it makes you feel like Captain America or Wonder Woman. So as you can see, she hit more than one enemy. I like this. And then again, this is all about crowd control, and I love this here. So she does her strategic spacing, so she's giving herself the room, and she's controlling the crowd by spacing out the enemies and kind of taking them out, allowing her partners to be strategic on how they take down which enemy, especially if that enemy has like an extra layer of shield and protection. So as a Rook is getting attacked on all sides, so you can command Lucanus to do Abominate to take down enemies, to knock enemies down. Oh my God. This is what, anywho, dyslexia, it's a bitch. But anywho, so you can use this to have him knock down enemies, and I like this. So while she's getting attacked, you see how he did that attack where he came in and knocked them away from her, so now she can go after the big guy over here. So I think that's really cool. It doesn't allow you to do top down, of course, and you see how he did that. So he knocked down that enemy, which allowed her to block that enemy and run over to this enemy. So again, I think it's really cool. And it seems like the combat is it's gonna be a bit challenging. This probably has a higher difficulty setting, but I think based on the settings we can do, I think this is gonna allow us to really get into the minutia of combat. And now, based on what we're seeing, it makes sense that the devs did things the way they did them, where they're saying, we're not gonna allow you to how do I put this? We're not going to allow you to have control of your companions, because it seems like you have a lot going on already. You're trying to command them. You have more free range attacks. The enemy seems like they're more fluid and responsive, and it seems like they can aggro on you real easily. So to me, it makes sense that you wouldn't have control over your companions, even though, yes, I would like that. But seeing this kind of combat, it makes sense why they did things the way they did things. So again, BioWare devs, I appreciate you, because think about it, it will be taking you out of the action a lot. So now you're like, oh fuck, let me switch to oh shit, my rook is like, she's going down, let me switch back to her. You know, even though some people will find that more immersive, but I like this because it makes you feel like, again, you think about what the devs are saying, they want you to really feel like you're in the fight, you're really in this world. So it would make sense that you think about your rook is fighting and she calls out, you know, Davrin, you know, take that out, you know, and you imagine that the combat is going very fluid, you know, and I like that. So I appreciate that. So you see that here, and look, now she's able to really, you know, hammer on this enemy, and now she's doing more heavy. Remember they talked about doing heavy attacks that really breaks down shield, and as you can see, she's hitting with her shield to really knock down that, so she can get to his sweet, sweet health bar beneath it all. So again, I support you, Rook. So you see that, boom, and like she was able to knock him down, and look how much of his defense, his shield, she was able to take down when she did that. So boom, she's basically almost done with some of these enemies. And this right here, oh my god, fighting at a distance. And as a mage, this is going to be very important. Spacing and fighting at a distance, even though you can be a close quarters combat mage. So, is it using abilities like Davrin's Death from Above to do damage from afar? So, Death from Above is when he summons, my husband, summons our child, you know, Asan, our little arrow, into combat, and it's so fucking cool. So, now, Death from Above, it does 231 fire damage, a cooldown of 48 seconds, because that makes sense, and it deals this right here. It does weakness, and it dominates. So not dominate, that's not the right word. It does weakness and fire damage is what I was trying to say. And so for me, I personally like that. I think that's really cool and allows you to fight an enemy from afar while you're still dealing with things around you. So again, this combat is very demanding of your attention, being focused on yourself and just like, you know, strategically telling your allies to do what you do, to kind of do things. So it reminds me very much of Mass Effect, especially Mass Effect 2. So for me personally, I like this. Even though again, this is Dragon Age and it's very different from Mass Effect, but I really like how they have this set up, and for me this works. So you see him do that, he calls in our son, boom, look, there a little son going, he look at the fire damage he does. He hits this one target, but he also hits some other enemies in the process. I really like that. Yep, and look at this, I love it. And now, boom, she knocks that guy out, and then now she's about to do her grappling spear, and get over here! And look what she does. She caused the overwhelm effect on this enemy. So now she has this overwhelm effect, and look, he's starting to get staggered. So now she could take a little bit more damage from his shield and his health bar. So again, I think this is really cool. Or use your grappling spear to pull an enemy close, which we just saw her do. I love this. And look, while he's still down, now had he been fully overwhelmed, she probably could have done a more devastating finisher. It may not have been able to kill him outright, but I'm pretty sure it would have done a hell of a lot of damage. And as you can see, she's hitting with her stronger attack, breaking his defense, his shield. And so now you get primaries, detonations, and ultimates. As your fight progresses, using primary detonations, and that was the other thing. Lucanus is really good at doing detonation effects. And ultimates with strategic timing to turn the tide of battle. So as you can see, you know, if you're playing as a rook that is more of a let's say you're playing as a rogue, right? And you're building up momentum by parrying and you're landing strikes and you're moving out of the way. But let's just say you don't have, you know, you don't really have a lot of strength. So you're going to really rely on detonation and ultimates when you're fighting. So when you think about, like, say you have someone like Lucanus and Knave. See, Knave may not necessarily have a good amount of detonation effects, but she may have other ways to really help you control the battlefield, allowing Lucanus to do the detonation effect. So again, when I saw this, I was like, okay, I'm really picking up what they're talking about now. And imagine having this on a higher difficulty and you're trying to micromanage all this shit. So again, we're in for a very good time when it comes to the combat. So now this is, I love this part where she opens the gate and she walks in and she's ready for battle. Is that Rook can create an incredible damage combo detonation with the help of their companions. Absolutely. So, and I love how she gets into her defensive stats and she has her sword and shield and she's walking into battle. For me, I like that kind of stuff. I think those kind of things add to the immersiveness of the combat, and I think it's really cool. So now you see you have all these enemies, and you can see you got Big Boy in the morning right here with his shield up. And then, you know, Pretty Boy Lucanus then flew in to save the day using, I think this was Abominate his effect. So now he did that to kind of come in, and I like that he can teleport. So he has a demonic aura. So I'm wondering is, and I'll talk about this more in the other video, but I'm wondering, is Lucanus, you know, what is he using to use demonic magic? You know, how is he doing this? It doesn't seem like he's possessed, or maybe he's partially possessed. I'm curious, because he does have magic. He is fade sensitive, so. And then this right here. Okay, so now with this situation, you can determine which primary and detonation works best against each enemy type. So now with this, see right here you have, remember, an opportunity, but not with Lucanus just yet. So you know, based on the situation, you can assess it and say, okay, what's the primary, what's the detonation, how do I excuse me, how do I best take down this big bastard to do the most, have the most effective way of playing. So again, this is really cool. So what she's gonna do, she's gonna do an opportunity attack, I believe. Oh, Battle Cry. So now Davrin, because he does Battle Cry, he's drawing aggro on himself. Command Davrin to taunt and to gather nearby enemies. So what's happening here, because again, it's showing she can get overwhelmed, but now you have Davrin doing the taunt, so now he's drawing aggro on him, kind of like when in Dragon's Dogma, when you slam your sword in the shield to draw aggro as a warrior, you do the roar, so that draws people to you. So personally speaking, I really like that. I think that's really cool that you can do that. Boom, and when that happens, now you see how he did that. So now the enemy's targeted on him, she was able to do a heal and get away. So now she can do some more shit later. And what's happening is that now she's trying to gather the enemies together, keep them all in one place at one time, and then she's gonna do her grappling spear to pull this other enemy in. And I really like this, because look what she does, right? And now again, her goal is to get all these enemies in one place at one time. And now she's going to activate her crystallization rune that freezes the enemies that are gathered in one place. So again, as you can see this here, it again, people say, where is the strategy? Where is this? Where is that? I'm breaking it down as we're talking about it. So boom, now she just froze 3 enemies. So she has 3 enemies that are frozen, right? And so now what she's gonna do, she's gonna get good old Lucanus, our demon, our prideful angel of death. She's gonna tell him to do a status effect, which is basically gonna allow you to do a detonation. So now I can't really see what that is right there. So this is going to allow him, oh, here it is right here, to do a detonation combo when he strikes while the enemies are grouped, to the whole group. So now she commands him to do that. He gets over there and look. Boom. Oh, crap. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. I was right here. Okay, so now we'll watch this in real time. Oh, shit. Okay. So now, sorry about that, everybody. So now he does this detonation effect, and look at the amount of damage he does to the enemies. So I like that he does that on them, and it has like a lasting lightning effect on them. So I think they also get a little bit of I don't think they get static, not shock effect. And see, look. She did a couple of hits on that enemy and it's already down. And now she's on to the next one. Boom. Like, I love it here. Like, I think that is so cool. And now it's because all the enemies are rallied together. You have them all in one spot. Now you can do your ultimate attack. So your ultimate is, as the battle progresses, Rook can unleash a ultimate attack. So so that's this here. And I think as a warrior, as you're building up this meter here, you can do like a really cool thing like this. So she backed up, they're all together, and now, and look how it works. And then you get that comment, but I like how they did that real slick screen change, because that's, of course, that's not where you were during that section. So it looked like she did it again to kind of clear a path. I think that's really cool, Warden's Fire. Okay. Now that you've mastered these combos, this combat strategy and tactics, let's see them all in action. Again, I think that's really cool. And now that you're fighting, you see she's using heavy and light attacks to really devastate an enemy. You can dodge. I really like this here. And I like how she's targeting this enemy and she does her grappling spear to kind of pull them in. Again, and she does death from above. Yeah, I honestly like this. So she does grappling. Asan comes in, and it's like, look at the flow of combat. It's so smooth. I think this is really cool. And so she used her rune to slow down the enemy. Now she has that up so she can defend herself. You know, as she does her kick, like, to me, Warrior just looks badass. Like, it looks so good. I'm so here for this. But this has me even more excited for, like, Mage. So we will look at the Mage gameplay in a second, but I really wanted to focus on this. And I like it because you see that Lucanus and Davern are on the roof above, and they're off fighting, doing their own thing. They have their own targets while you're down here and you're just like kicking ass and taking names. Love it. Yeah, and so also the thing I did notice, this is one thing I do want to point out to you guys, that while you're in the middle of combat, you notice her health goes down. When she gets hit, she's taking a lot of damage. And so you know these enemies are pretty strong. So even though she has heavy armor on and all these defenses, she can still... she can still get pretty messed up. So it's important that you do pay attention to your health. As you see, she does a health right there. And now, and I think this enemy looks creepy with the red eyes. Like, honestly, that does look creepy. I like this look. And so now Lucanus and Davern come in and they help her out right here. And look how they were able to help her take down this enemy while she was like needing to kind of get her breath, you know? And I like how she used her shield to blow up the background. And you see how she's taking damage and she does her perfect parry. Like, again, the combat in this game is really cool. Boom. Like, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, I love it. You see her health is almost gone, so she had to do another health potion. So that goes to show you the combat in this game. You know, this time I'm just gonna do this right here and just let it play. The combat in this game is just, it's like you really gotta be on your P's and Q's when fighting. Otherwise, you know, you can get taken down relatively easy if you're not prepared, you know. And I seeing this, and this is just warrior gameplay. And remember, we saw the rogue gameplay, and we didn't even see archer rogue. We just saw dual wielding rogue. So, you know, I'm really excited to see more of we can do, because they said they're gonna go more into like how the runes and everything can really like play into effect during combat. So with that said, I'm gonna switch gears and we're gonna look at the combat for the mage. Okay guys, we're back. So as you can see, this is Veilguard. So this is the RFX announcement trailer. So RTX announcement trailer. As you can see here, holy shit, this is loud. As you can see here, they went back to the black rook. I think that's so cool. Again, like I said, I appreciate that they're constantly changing the rooks. So rook is either the black default, which I think this is his main default. Then you have the other default rook, the more Spanish looking guy. And then you have that gorgeous female elf rook as well. So you can not only got to see a different race, you also got to see a different gender. So I think that's really cool. So yeah, see, Rook and his wife, Solus's ritual, and it says the RFX is on, and it looks really good. And this particular Rook he's a rogue. I mean, he's a mage. So we're starting that over. Hold on. And this is a lot shorter, of course, but the game looks good. And I like that they have ray tracing, so it allows you to have like the shiny effects. It looks so good. This is like the deep road. And this, I think, is, if this is, I don't think this is a temple. I mean, not a temple. I don't think this is the lighthouse. I think this is an elven temple. Because if you remember in Inquisition, there were areas like this. So, yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, oh, this looks so cool. And then this is the lighthouse. And you can see like it looks damaged over time. So Solus, why are you letting your house fall into disrepair? What's wrong with you, bruh? Were you heartbroken that Llewellyn wasn't with you? Should have stuck with her, bruh. So yeah, so I like that. So for people who don't know what this is, the DLSS 3 NVIDIA, this helps with like the way everything looks, like the graphics, the sharpness, I think the frame rate and all that stuff. So if you're even more technical than myself, you'll see that this is how this will help you with, especially with how sharp the coloring is. Especially, again, like I said, my friend Important Goose, her video will be in the video description. She talks about that there, and I think even one of her community members actually gives her a suggestion on how to kind of combat that. So again, this game will have all sorts of accessibility settings that will help you. Please God, let them have a dyslexia option to help people like me, because oh my God, y'all see my struggle. Anywho, so now you see it holds 60 frames per second and all that stuff. And again, it looks so good. And then look at that, it's even smoother. Like you get higher frame rates. So the DLSS 3 will allow you to do that. So I think that's pretty freaking cool. So now you can see the combat, and I love the one, but look at that. Like, hold on. This right here where he does that slam. Hold on. Like this slam right here, the mage's combat, it looks so good. Like, even though I like the warrior, but remember this is a level 1 mage and we don't have all of our good shit yet. So, and remember, as a mage you can get in CQC, so I'm really excited about that. Like, you know, that reminds you, no, when you're fighting with your staff and you slam, I think that's that. And look at the animation, it looks so good. And you see Mommy Neve and Nave in the background. Oh, Nev. I keep calling her Neve because I'm American, so when I read it, I want to say Neve, but it's Nev, like Nev Gallus, Nev. But I'm always gonna fuck up her name unless I hear it. Sorry, love. And then this, like, where you're seeing him hold the staff and it's like you're aiming while you're walking and you're like draining their health. And look, you notice something. There are no health bars. There are no health bars. There are no indicators anywhere. So it goes to show you can turn off that stuff in your UI. So for me, when I saw this, I was like, oh my God. You mean to tell me I can have a clean screen? You know, I'm pretty sure you can still see the health bars and stuff. Like, you need that. But removing like enemies' health, like say you don't want to see all that shit. And that's what I did for Hogwarts Legacy. So I think if I can do that here, I'm gonna definitely do that. I don't want to know what I'm doing. I just want to just do it. Now, if there's for some reason I need to know this stuff, that's fine. I'll accept it. But if I don't have to have it on, I'm not gonna have it on. I love it. Look at that. And then look, this right here, look, he has this rune beneath him and he's summoning all these like spears. This reminds me of when you're playing in Elden Ring, when you play as a sorcerer and you can summon those swords to attack. I like this so freaking much. It looks so cool. I love it. Look at that. Look at that. And I think this is Harding. No, this is Varric right here. This is Varric. And this is basically the opening of Veilguard. Like after you go through the Illuvian, you're here. And I just look at this spell. Look at that. Like, look at that. And he just knocks him away. I love it so much. And then look. And then like you could swing your staff and throw magic at the same time. And look at this, like, look at this arch. Like, you did that and you could just, like, knock them away and stuff. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this game's combat, chef's kiss. I'm here for it. Yeah, and you see him running, and then you see him doing that again, and I love the magic effect. And look how he's just, like, he is messing up this pride demon. Like, you don't stand a chance, honey. I'm a mage. And then you see him do that again, and then you see him do that. So only thing I'm wondering, can you hit with the staff like in DA2? Even though you can do a dagger, you can switch to a dagger, and you see that right here. You see him jump, and he hits with the dagger, and it looks like this is ice magic he hit him with. And you see Neb over there, so I really like the way the mage combat looks. So we're gonna look at that again from the beginning. Again, the mage combat looks good. I want to see a higher level mage as well and see how we can really dive into the combat of the mage as well, because it's going to be a lot of fun, especially with like being a spell blade and switching to daggers with your wand. Again, this game is like, just look at this. Like, I'm so here for it. And and I like the weightiness of it. Like, you could feel his charge up with the magic. I love it. So good. So freaking good. So, okay, guys, that's it. That's the breakdown and conversation for this. So what I want to know is, what do you guys think? Do you like this new combat system? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? You know, what about the original combat did you like most? You know, what was it about Inquisition's combat or Origins combat you liked better than this? Or after seeing this, have you changed your mind and said, hey, I think I can get behind this. I really like the way this looks. I'm really here for this. And if you are, I would love to know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section down below. And also, what kind of rook are you gonna play as? Are you gonna be like me and be, I think I'm gonna stick with my guns and be a Lord of Fortune. So are you gonna be a Lord of Fortune like myself? Or, you know, are you gonna be an Antivan Crow? Are you gonna be a Veil Jumper? Because that seems like that's a really popular one as well. So yeah, so if that's what your plans are, I would love to know. And do you already have a backstory for your rook? Because you know me, I always create intros and all that stuff, and I have a backstory for my rook. If you haven't met my rook, you can see his short little video in my playlist. You can check him out for yourself. And it'll also be linked in the video description so you can meet my rook that I created for this game. I'm really excited to dive into the story and experience this firsthand, especially with this new combat system and this new story. And I think we're gonna get kind of like the best of both worlds. When we do our trailer and now let's break down, I'm gonna really dive into the story and the things that I have and my theories for this as well. But with all that said, if you guys enjoyed this, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and again, leave me a comment in the comment section down below because I really want to know what you guys think. But until then, remember to live, think, and dream big, choose love over fear, and if you do, more good things will come for you. Imagine that. But until then, hair flip, and bye!